They thought hurting a human child would teach us respect. But in the next 10 minutes, the galaxy learned who should truly be afraid. When the Korath soldiers fired on an 8-year-old girl, just a curious kid following a maintenance drone, everyone expected outrage, maybe sanctions, maybe a tense negotiation. What they got instead was silence, a calm, deadly silence. Because when humans go quiet, the universe should be terrified. And by the time the Korath realized it, their warlord's head was already hanging in the council chamber. If you're already hooked, and you should be, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and share this video. It helps the channel more than you know. And trust me, this story only gets wilder from here. Let's dive in. The Korath Empire was arrogant even on their best days. They strutted, chittered, and bragged about their military strength so loudly that even their own walls probably rolled their eyes. On that particular day, the humans were there for diplomacy. Simple talks, trade routes, nothing dramatic. They even brought families with them, a human custom the Korath misinterpreted as weakness. In that group was Torres, an 8-year-old with big curious eyes and a habit of following anything that buzzed or blinked. So when she spotted a tiny repair drone scooting down a hallway, of course she chased after it. She giggled, trying to mimic its hum, completely unaware she'd wandered into a restricted military zone. A zone marked in 17 languages with one message: trespassers will be shot. Sergeant Victor, a scarred, 3-meter slab of Korath muscle, spotted her first. To him, she wasn't a child. She wasn't even a person. She was a chance to show dominance. He fired a warning shot, so close that it burned a lock of her hair. Nia froze. Most kids would. Fear does that. But Victor wanted more. He lifted his rifle again, this time switching to stun, and fired point-blank in her chest. The tiny body slammed into a steel wall. She collapsed. Her arm bent at an angle no arm should ever bend. Blood trickled from her forehead. The guards cheered. They laughed. And that laughter, that was the last sound some of them ever made. Her parents arrived seconds later. Linda fell to her knees. Marcus Torres stood completely still, staring at Victor with no emotion. No shaking, no yelling, just silence. The kind predators make. The Korath mistook it for fear. They didn't know this was the moment the countdown began. Chapter 2, 10 minutes to extinction. The humans removed Nia from the scene. Medical teams rushed her to their ship. But the remaining humans? Their voices went cold. Their movements became precise. Laser-focused. Ambassador Rachel Morgan walked straight into the Korath council chamber. She didn't shout. She didn't demand justice. She simply said, "You have 10 minutes. The Korath roared with laughter. 10 minutes for what? They mocked. Rachel smiled, a tiny, calm thing that made even the walls uneasy. 10 minutes, she said, before Marcus comes for you. And she walked out. Minute 1, a patrol vanished. 3 soldiers. Gone. Equipment scattered like they'd been pulled out of existence. The Korath laughed again. Faulty sensors, they said. Minute 3, another team disappeared. No alarms. No heat signatures. Just absence. A repair crew was sent to investigate. They vanished too. Now the laughter stopped. Minute 4. Footage emerged, grainy, glitching but horrifying. A human-shaped blur moved through the corridors at impossible speed. No footsteps, no sound, just fluid, silent motion. A shadow wearing a man's outline. Security Chief Bracken nearly swallowed his mandibles. No species moves like that, he whispered. Minute 6. Doors sealed. Turrets activated. The fortress went into full lockdown. And then the lights went out. Emergency red glow filled the corridors. And Marcus Torres stood at the end of one. His diplomatic suit was still pressed. His hair was still neat. But his eyes held extinction. Contain him, the Korath screamed. The turrets fired. Marcus wasn't there anymore. The cameras caught only glimpses, shoulders turning, steps melting into shadows, motion like water flowing uphill. Every turret disabled itself before finishing a full firing cycle. Minute 7. He reached the armory. The locks disengaged without alarms. Inside, 50 elite Korath warriors prepared for war. Armored, armed, trained since birth. The camera feed flickered. When it restored, every warrior was unconscious on the floor. Marcus walked out, dusting off his sleeves. Minute 8. The Korath Warlord barricaded himself in the central bunker, an underground fortress designed to withstand orbital bombardment. It lasted 17 minutes against Marcus Torres. But the 10-minute promise had already expired. When Marcus stepped through the melted doorframe, the Warlord fired everything he had. Plasma bolts, sonic rounds, anti-armor rounds. The blasts vaporized the walls. Marcus wasn't touched. He moved like physics was merely a suggestion. One step, 10 meters. Another, behind the Warlord's guards. A blink, 3 more disabled. And all the while, his calm voice echoed through the bunker. She wanted to give you drawings of flowers from Earth. You shot her because she followed a drone. She is 8. Warriors fell faster than the Warlord could process. Soon it was just him and Marcus. There are laws, the Warlord screamed. You can't. Marcus tilted his head. There are, he agreed softly. And you broke the only one that truly matters. What happened next never appeared in any official record. But everyone saw the result. Epilogue. The head in the council chamber. 30 minutes later, the Galactic Council received a message. A live transmission. In the center of the chamber, hanging from the ceiling, was the severed head of Warlord Graham. Below it, a single sentence. Never harm a human child. Reports say no one spoke for 5 full minutes. Even species that didn't breathe stood frozen. Within a week, the Korath Empire surrendered every demand. Within a month, a new universal law, unwritten but absolute, spread across every star system. Do not threaten human children. Ever. Because if you do, humanity won't negotiate. Humanity won't argue. They will simply come for you. And you won't even have 10 minutes. When the Korath Warlord's head hit the floor of the council chamber, a single truth spread across the spiral arms faster than any starship ever could. The humans were not peaceful. They were patient. And patience is far more terrifying. Every race that witnessed the broadcast felt the same instinctive shiver. Prey recognizing an apex predator it had mistaken for a harmless grazer. The message beneath the dangling, lifeless mandibles of Warlord Graham was short. Simple, gentle even. Never harm a human child. The irony was brutal. The Korath had believed they were predators teaching a lesson. Turns out they were the lesson. The Council's emergency meeting. The Galactic Council chamber hadn't been this full in 2 centuries. Representatives from 90 species crowded into the silver-lit hall. Scaled, furred, feathered, crystalline, amorphous, photosynthetic, all trying very hard not to look at the Warlord's head swaying from the ceiling like a lantern of doom. Some stared. Some trembled. Some avoided looking entirely, pretending their datapads were suddenly fascinating. Ambassador Rachel Morgan walked in calmly, as if she hadn't just unleashed the most efficient extermination event since the supernova sterilization campaigns. No armor, no weapons, just a slim black suit and eyes too steady to belong to a diplomat who'd witnessed her people being attacked. Madam Ambassador, the Zakari speaker croaked, voice trembling, do humans consider this proportional? Rachel stopped at the center podium, clasped her hands politely, and answered with nothing but honesty. No, she said. This was mercy. A ripple of horror rushed through the chamber. Rachel continued, her tone steady. The man who acted, Marcus Torres, he held back. He targeted only combatants. He destroyed a fortress, but spared the planet. He made sure the civilians escaped. Silence swallowed the hall. And he gave them a warning, she added. Most species don't get warnings. The Vorthack delegate fainted. No one bothered to revive him for 10 minutes. The Whisper network ignites. Across the galaxy, rumors erupted like plasma storms. They say humans can see in every spectrum when angry. They say Marcus Torres moved so fast the security cameras melted. No, he phased. He stepped between molecules. Humans hide their true evolution. They look weak to lure predators. My cousin's friend's mate saw a human mother pick up a shuttle to save her child. Every version grew more dramatic, more impossible, more terrifying. And the humans didn't deny any of it, which made it even worse. Meanwhile, on the human ship, Nia Torres woke up in a medical bay to find her mother crying softly beside her and her father sitting completely still at her bedside. Marcus Torres wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a spy. He wasn't special forces. He was an accountant, a trade negotiator, a man who made spreadsheets for a living. But humans were adaptable. Humans evolved under predators that stalked them at night. Humans built civilizations not because the world was kind, but because the world tried to kill them every chance it got. Nia blinked awake. "Daddy," Marcus breathed for the first time in minutes. "Hey, Starshine," he whispered, brushing her hair back gently. "You scared us." Nia looked confused. "Did I get in trouble?" Linda laughed through tears. "No, sweetheart, not you." Nia paused. "Is that why Daddy went quiet?" Marcus froze. Kids have a strange instinct, simple innocence paired with unsettling accuracy. They see things adults deny. "You only go quiet," Nia said softly, "when you're really, really angry." Marcus kissed her forehead. "Everything's okay now." And, somehow, everyone in that room felt the truth of it. The Korath Empire collapses without a shot fired. The Korath didn't wait for official sanctions. They surrendered. Unconditionally. Generals burned their uniforms. Soldiers dropped rifles and fled. The royal line abdicated overnight. Entire fleets deserted, preferring exile to extinction. Within a week, the Korath Empire was nothing more than a nervous cluster of city-states whispering apologies into the void. Not because humans attacked them, but because humans didn't. The council asked Rachel if humanity wanted reparations. Territory, strategic planets, fleet rights, tribute. Her answer was simple. Respect our children. That is all. If she had asked for their homeworlds, they would have delivered them on a polished silver plate. The real truth behind human peacefulness. A year later, a Zulhari chronicler compiled a classified report, one never meant for public eyes. It traced every mysterious extinction event, every pirate clan disappearance, every unexplained evacuation near human colonies for the past century. The conclusion chilled him. Humans were not harmless. They were selective. They didn't start wars, but they ended threats. Quietly, completely, with no survivors to tell the tale. Predators avoided humans not because of treaties, but because evolution whispered caution. Some instinct buried deep in the universe's DNA urged every species. Do not touch their young, because humans did not wage war over children. They performed surgical removal of the problem. A new galactic era begins. Ceremonies were held. Memorials were built. The council rewrote safety protocols regarding diplomatic dependence. Every species, from microscopic hive minds to continent-sized leviathans, signed one universal decree. Harming a human minor constitutes an act of self-destruction. Even the wording was polite. The intention was not. Trading stations posted signs. Starports installed human-specific emergency shelters. Even pirate syndicates issued strict orders. No raiding human civilians. Ever. One pirate captain who ignored the rule vanished overnight. His entire fleet vanished with him. The message was clear. Humans didn't need to threaten anyone. They didn't need to flaunt strength. They simply existed. And the galaxy trembled respectfully. The legacy of Nia Torres. By the time Nia returned to Earth, she had no idea millions of beings whispered her name like a prayer for survival. She healed quickly. Kids bounce back like that. Her scar remained, tiny, faint, crescent-shaped. People called it the line that redefined the galaxy. She just called it the place Daddy kissed a lot. Years later, when she grew old enough to understand, she asked her father, why they all get so scared. Marcus thought for a long time. Then he answered in the simplest way he could. Because they forgot something important, he said softly. Humanity is kind, but never helpless. She nodded in that thoughtful way children do. Good, she said. No one should hurt kids. Marcus hugged her. No, he whispered. No one should. And somewhere, Far across the stars, entire civilizations shivered without knowing why. Closing line, the rule written in fear. In every corner of the galaxy, from the dimmest asteroid outposts to the brightest capital worlds, 3 unspoken words shaped an era of unprecedented peace. Never harm a human child. Not because the Council demanded it, not because humans asked for it, but because the last species that broke the rule didn't survive long enough to apologize.